Thank you, Julie. Bonsoir à tous. Merci beaucoup d'être ici avec nous. C'est un grand plaisir d'être à Mumbai alors que nous entamons une étape importante de notre visite en Inde. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here in beautiful Mumbai as we begin an important leg of our week-long visit to India. I'm pleased to be joined by a team of 6 cabinet ministers as we work to advance our priorities in the region. The point of this trip is twofold. We want to strengthen the historic ties between our two countries and pursue economic opportunities that will create good jobs for Canadians and Indians alike. Yesterday in New Delhi, I held a roundtable discussion with leaders from across Indian civil society. We talked about some of the challenges and opportunities facing the people who live here. Aujourd'hui, j'ai visité l'ashram de Gandhi et le temple Ashkardam, et j'ai pris part à une excellente discussion sur l'investissement et l'éducation au Indian Institute of Management à Ahmedabad. Les prochains jours s'annoncent très occupés alors que je poursuivrai ma visite ici à Mumbai, Amritsar et de retour à Delhi. And whether we're talking about investment in Canada, religion and culture, or empowering women and youth, the Canada-India friendship only grows stronger. On a personal note, it's wonderful to have the whole family with me this week. I'm glad that my kids get to experience this beautiful country while their dad is hard at work. It's actually quite fitting. I was here with my dad in 1983, tagging along on one of his work trips, so it's nice to come full circle and have them here with me now. Sur ce, je remercie nos hôtes indiens pour leur accueil très chaleureux, non seulement à l'égard de ma famille, mais aussi à toute l'équipe. Nous avons hâte d'entamer les prochains jours. Là-dessus, je suis très heureux de répondre à vos questions.
Hello, Prime Minister. I'm Satpal Johal from Delhi Ajit newspaper. So my question to you is that Premier of Punjab, Amrinder Singh, tweeted this afternoon that he's going to meet you coming Wednesday. Can you tell us if any one of your cabinet minister will be joining you in that meeting, and what issues do you have in your mind to discuss with him?
As you know well, when I travel around the world, I meet with a broad range of leaders and elected officials. I will always engage with people to defend and stand up for Canada's interests and Canada's values. As for the actual details of the meetings, we're working out the details still, but I have a great team of ministers with me.
En français, sur les détails du meeting, s'il vous plaît.
Comme vous savez, quand je voyage, je rencontre bien des gens pour défendre les intérêts du Canada, pour parler de nos valeurs. On n'a pas finalisé tous les détails de la rencontre, mais vous savez que j'ai une très bonne équipe de ministres ici aujourd'hui, aussi sur ce voyage.
I have a follow-up question. What prompted you suddenly yesterday to send Mr. Singh a written request of the meeting? Why was it not possible for you to do it from Ottawa before reaching India?
One of the things with a visit that is as jam-packed with meetings and events is we're always adjusting and looking for better opportunities, and this was one that came together.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. Vous avez fait allusion lorsque vous étiez à l'Institut tout à l'heure à quel point vous vendiez la marque Canada aux étudiants qui étaient là. À quel point la controverse sur le mouvement nationaliste Sikh au Canada risque d'affecter cette marque-là ici en Inde?
Je pense que les gens comprennent que ça fait partie des valeurs canadiennes d'accepter une diversité de points de vue et de perspectives. Mais on fait toujours ça dans le respect. On rejette la violence et toute approche basée sur la haine. Mais en même temps, je peux vous rassurer et répéter que la politique du Canada et ma politique personnelle n'a pas changé. On reconnaît et on appuie une Inde.
En anglais.
I think part of Canada's strengths is that we recognize that diversity is a strength, and a wide range of opinions and views are an important part of the success of Canada. We, of course, reject violence and hate speech or hateful speech, but at the same time, I can reassure everyone that my position, that Canada's position has not changed. We support one united India.
Vous avez dit justement que vous appuyez une Inde unie. Ce n'est pas la première fois que le gouvernement canadien le dit, ça. Et pourtant, cette controverse ne semble pas disparaître, en tout cas pas dans les médias indiens. C'est prévalent dans les médias indiens. Alors, qu'est-ce que vous pouvez faire autrement pour essayer de faire taire cette controverse-là?
On va continuer de répéter nos valeurs et nos positions par rapport à l'Inde, cette amitié profonde que nous avons avec ce pays, les liens profonds que garde la diaspora canadienne, la diaspora indienne au Canada. On va continuer d'être très clair sur nos positions et c'est tout ce que nous pouvons faire là-dessus.
En anglais aussi.
We will continue to speak clearly and strongly about Canadian values and about Canada's position on a united India. We will repeat it in every conversation that we have, and that's pretty much all we can continue to do.
Mia Rabson from the Canadian Press. Trade with India hasn't grown quite as fast as Canada had initially planned. There's some questions about India suggesting that they're going to tie a FIPA agreement or other economic trade agreements to you being stronger against these Sikh elements in Canada that they're talking about. Are you going to say anything stronger about it? How far are you willing to go in order to get these FIPA signed?
Oh, I think people know that I defend Canada's values and Canadian interests, and diversity of views in Canada is extremely important to me and will always remain that way. At the same time, we have been diligent in ensuring that we are taking our responsibilities seriously on cracking down on extremism and standing up for the kind of peaceful dialogue that is essential in Canada. We will continue to advocate for one united India, and that is something that is core to what Canada is.
This meeting that you're planning with the Chief Minister of Punjab later this week, he has said some pretty strong things about some of your ministers, things that they have called defamatory. Are you going to raise that with him?
I always raise Canada's interests. Canada has been unequivocal, both myself, all my ministers, our government, on a policy of one united India. We have been very strong on that and will continue to be.
Abigail Beeman, Global News. There's been some talk in India and at home that your welcome here by Indian government officials was not so warm. A junior minister met you at the airport and the Prime Minister didn't accompany you to his home state of Gujarat today. What's your response?
I last met with the Prime Minister just a few weeks ago in Davos. I've met him a number of times in various places around the world. I'm very pleased to be here, looking forward to sitting down with him on Friday. But in the meantime, as you've seen, we are engaging as we must with such a deep and multifaceted relationship as the friendship between Canada and India. It's not just about political ties, it's about deep business and economic ties that we can and will grow. It's about the connection to education and speaking with students today. It's the religious and cultural ties that are so important to so many people in the diaspora and around the world. This is a meeting, this is a trip that is filled with different aspects of the relationship, and will continue to engage with India in a complex, multifaceted way.
You mentioned your meeting with civil society representatives. We were told that the names of those people or groups wouldn't be released because some had concerns for their safety. I'm wondering how far you're willing to push on the human rights file in a country that has such big challenges.
I think people are beginning to know how I approach these files. I am extremely vocal about standing up for human rights, freedom of the press, rights of civil society, every time I engage with any leader of any country. This is something that I do in a respectful but firm manner, as Canadians would expect, at every opportunity, and I will continue to. Je pense que les gens savent que je parle toujours des droits humains, des principes démocratiques qui nous sont chers au Canada, avec tous les dirigeants que je rencontre à travers le monde. C'est une chose que les gens s'attendent d'un leader canadien, d'être là pour nos valeurs et nos intérêts, mais de le faire de façon ferme, oui, mais aussi respectueuse.
Prime Minister, good evening. Omar Sechin, CTV News. There are farmers in Saskatchewan who are counting on you to make headway on the issue of increased tariffs Indians have slapped for Canadian pulse products, and yet your agriculture minister isn't here, your trade minister isn't here, and earlier today you referred to the issue as only being a slight challenge. I'm wondering, when you meet with Mr. Modi, how will you convince him that these tariffs have to go, and when will they?
I brought this issue up at the highest levels with Prime Minister Modi a few weeks ago. I will bring it up with him again on Friday. I will continue to talk about pulses and agricultural exports from Canada, imports to India at every chance I get. Indeed, when I got off the plane in Delhi, I had a conversation with the agriculture minister on a quick conversation where I said I would look forward to making headway on pulses. This is an issue that we will continue to stand up for and defend Canadian interests on, as I have been all the last times I met with the Prime Minister. À chaque fois que je rencontre le Premier ministre Modi, je parle de l'agriculture, je parle de l'importance des exportations canadiennes. Je vais continuer à souligner que c'est un enjeu qui est important pour le Canada, important pour nos fermiers et qu'on espère pouvoir régler.
And what specific Canadian sectors do you see as having perhaps the biggest potential here in India? And why haven't they realized that potential in your view?
I think there's always more work to do. We have over $8 billion in trade annually with India, but there's much more we should do. I'm excited about some of the investments in high tech, in the digital economy that is very promising. We're going to be having a number of great meetings tomorrow with the business sector. We're continuing to demonstrate the tremendous complementarity and the tremendous opportunities for collaboration between Canadians and Indians in the new global economy. This is a country where the friendship with Canada runs deep and the opportunities run even deeper for both of our citizens.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Jagdish Kariwal from Toronto, Canada, from Canadian Punjabi Post. There's a good number of Punjabis living in Toronto and Vancouver area, and there's a huge demand among them to start a direct flight from Toronto and Vancouver to Amritsar. Even the brass halls, I have written you a letter before you start your trip to India. So what our government is doing to start that process? Is there any negotiation going between India and Canada to start that direct flight?
Certainly one of the fundamental purposes of this trip is to deepen the opportunities for Canada and India to work even closer together on people-to-people ties, on business ties. And flights is certainly an issue that we're happy to work on. Much of it comes down to a commercial decision by carriers, but at the same time, as a government, we're happy to encourage greater opportunities for Canadians and Indians to connect better, to invest better, to grow our economies, and to collaborate closer.
Mr. Prime Minister, my next question is, I have traveled previously with the Prime Ministers and the Premiers. They all go to Punjab, they all go to the Golden Temple. Their Punjab visits just become photo opportunities. I haven't seen any business ties developing with Punjab and Canada. Is there anything that we are doing during this trip to develop better ties between Punjab and Canada for the business?
Well, I can't speak to what wasn't done on previous administrations' trips to India, but I can certainly emphasize that every aspect of the relationship we're looking at right across the country, whether it was today in Gujarat, whether it's our ministers engaged across the country having tremendous meetings, not just with politicians, but with business leaders, with various influential leaders. These are the kinds of things that deepen a relationship and create better opportunities for Canadians and for Indian citizens. I look forward to having a great visit to Gujarat, to Amritsar and the Punjab. I know there are deep connections for many Indo-Canadians with the Punjab, but there is always a lot more to a relationship than just photos, and that's certainly a big part of what I'm looking forward to. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you.